Hello. Thanks so much for tuning into Audio Unicorn. So today I'm going to talk about the ideal length for a podcast. How long should a podcast be? And whether there is such a thing in the first place. So if you look for the answer on the internet, there will be a lot of articles saying, well, the average commute time in the USA is 26 minutes. So probably your podcast should be below that. But then, there are the kind of comments saying, well, the average length of the top 100 podcasts out there is 51 minutes. So maybe 51 minutes or 60 minutes is the answer. And the conversation continues. So there is just a ton of, science thrown into the mix, and actually one thing is missing, and that is simply common sense. I think, and I'm a huge believer of the fact that if your content is good and if you have a lot of valid reasons and valid things to say, then why not to have a 50, 60, 70, 80, 90-minute podcast, however long it takes for you to deliver the good message. But the key word in here is the content good throughout? And this is where I guess the post-editing comes into good play, because, especially if you interview people, or even when you go into your own flow of things, you can just go on the tangent and not always quite relevant. So post-editing can really help to clean those things up and tighten them up. And I think that is important to do. Too many podcasters simply record and release. It's like record, release. It's almost like an automation because it's an easy thing to do. Yet I think the post-editing adds value in terms of, being critical into the content you create, just, taking out things that perhaps are not so good after all. But in general, how long should a podcast be? It should be however long it takes for you to deliver a good message in a good manner as well. I mean, if you look at some of the podcasts, such as Tim Ferriss, fantastic podcast, some of his episodes run into 2 hours, and he releases them like that. It doesn't stop him from being successful, simply because the conversations he has are really good and very engaging throughout. So it doesn't really matter from that perspective. You could argue that there will be some listeners, actually myself included, who find it hard to listen to podcasts that are over 30 minutes in length. I do find it hard, but then if there are really good episodes, I will come back and listen till the end. So there are just about probably a couple of podcasts that I will listen to, and it doesn't matter how long they are. It could be an hour, it could be 2 hours. I will listen to the whole episode in my own time, and that's the key here, in my own time. Another useful thing to do to kind of analyze yourself in a certain extent is just have a look at the statistics. If your stats allow you to see whether your listeners tune in all the way from start to finish, then is there any point, maybe a segment in your podcast that isn't working as well as you thought it is, and that may be worth taking out? Again, it's so individual. It's so difficult to put science onto something that is so incredibly individual. Every single podcast out there will be different. You can find 2 podcasts covering exactly the same topic, yet the approach, delivery, and everything in between will be very, very different. So you may find that one, that will talk about, say, Minecraft, will be 20 minutes in length, and the other will be 2 hours in length. And it doesn't matter how long it is. Both could be very popular, or the one that's 2 hours could be more popular than the one that's 20 minutes. So I think, please, in whatever you do, in however you structure things, just make sure to keep that good old common sense still in there, and actually just go with the flow and focus on delivering really good quality. Nothing else, just focus on delivering good podcasts. So I hope it really helps you to get your head around this. This is something I've gone through with Audio Unicorn, and I was thinking, gosh, should I be aiming for each episode to be 30 minutes? Should I be aiming for it to be 20 minutes, 10 minutes? And then I thought, what, if I have something valid to say, and if it is going to add value in some way, then it will be, 15, 20 minutes. But if I have just a brief message, it will be just 7 minutes long, and that's fine too. So why to overcomplicate things? And Instead, just focus on content and making sure that what you deliver in terms of quality is always top. And don't try to just squeeze in talking enough to just fill in that 30 minutes that you said you do. Now, also important from the perspective of organization, when you take on sponsors on board, for example, set the expectations right and simply say that your shows vary in length. If they do, don't overpromise, because that's another thing that can put a massive pressure on you as a content creator. If you say to your sponsor at the start, I have 30-minute shows, and then you struggle to fill the 30 minutes, you do yourself injustice, you do injustice to your listener and to your sponsor too. So if you have any other people who are perhaps interested in some other ways in your show, then make sure to deliver on the expectations that you set. So set them accordingly, in other words. I hope this helps, and I truly wish you all the best with your podcasting endeavors. Just a quick update on my audio unicorn side of things. I keep producing, even though you see my videos once a week or listen to the podcast once a week. And I keep producing away in here. And as I say, a huge focus here is post-production of a spoken word. I actually would really love to have opportunity to work on an audiobook. If there is something that you are working on or would like to work on and would like some help, please reach out to me, as I'm very much open to getting that as a little bit of an experience under my belt. So if you have a book and you need a producer, let me know. I would love to help. And thanks so much for tuning in, and I will see you this same time next week. Bye.